Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the end of another week, and welcome back to the second episode of No Money, No Prospects. I'm your host, Paige, and today we're going to be talking about Mercury Retrograde. To quote Michael Scott from The Office, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. And this week has just been something else. This week has been one for the books. Not the good books, not the bedtime story, happy ending books, but some books, maybe like a series of unfortunate events. Mercury Retrograde started last Friday, April 21st, on my birthday, which, if you ask me, is like a little bit foreboding. Mercury Retrograde starting the day of the new year of my life, like, I don't know what that means. Hopefully nothing. Like, hopefully this has just been a bad week and not the start to a bad year. Everyone knock on wood. Little stitches coming in. Um, but yeah, no, Mercury retrograde started on my birthday. I wasn't aware of that until a few days later. But this week has just been the most trying week in a while. And honestly, not all of it's happened to me. It's been a lot to people that I'm close with and people that I'm hanging around and all of that. But I still feel like everything is just whack right now. Um, the first thing that happened, let's take it back to last Friday, okay? Last Friday, my birthday, to start off on the wrong foot completely, right? As if it wasn't already foreboding enough that Mercury retrograde started on my birthday. Take a shot every time I say Mercury retrograde started on my birthday. You're already drunk. Oh my God. What is wrong with you? um, the very first thing I did, Griffin, what? The very first thing I did on my birthday, probably 30 minutes past midnight, was throw up. Yuck. That's not what you want your birthday to start off on, right? And so it was completely my fault. Um, I had a little too much fun the night of, and just my body couldn't handle it. So threw up, and I was like, wow, I'm 26 years old now. And we're still doing this, huh? Like, it had been a while since that had happened. So I was like, not a great start. But you know what? We've got the whole year ahead of us. It's going to be fine. And then went to bed, woke up late, got ready, went to lunch with my family for my birthday. And while I'm at lunch, I check my phone, and one of my coworkers texted me, and she said, "Hey, happy birthday. By the way, my car is totaled." Oh, okay. I was like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's all fine. But my car is totaled." And I was like, "Oh my gosh. That really sucks." Like, I've had a car totaled before. That really sucks. And, I was relieved she was okay. But again, like, that sucks. So then, fast forward, the rest of the weekend goes by pretty smoothly. Not a whole lot to mention there. Had like another family birthday thing. I actually went on a road trip that Saturday uh, to a local like nature preserve slash museum thing. It was really fun. I got to see a bunch of animals. I got to buy a magnet in the gift shop, which is like my favorite thing to do anywhere I go. Uh, it was a great day. We went and ate at a Chinese buffet. Like, it was just a good day. Really tired, but it was a good day. And, Sunday, family stuff, pretty relaxing, not too bad. So, like, Monday rolls around. This is around the time I'm realizing Mercury retrograde started on Friday. And again, as I said, I'm not, like, really superstitious. So I'm just like, oh, interesting. That's cool. Made a joke about the fact that it started on my birthday, that being foreboding. You guys are familiar with that joke. But, Monday was fine. It was, like, a little tense, maybe. A little bit weird. I had a final meeting with some clients of mine that I have known for a while, so that was kind of rough. And then another one of the people I ended up talking to was in a weird situation. So, I mean, it was, like, a little weird, but, like, nothing out of the usual. I have a fairly, stressful job, so I'm pretty used to that kind of stuff. Tuesday, again, pretty much an okay day, like, not terrible. My tire was low, so, like, that was a little uncomfortable, but easy fix, like, go to the gas station, put some air in it, not a big deal. It started raining pretty heavily, but, it's that time of year. It's springtime. It's storm season. So, yeah, I was like, okay, like, pretty good first week of being 26, to be honest. And then Wednesday happened. And Wednesday is where it all started to go downhill. Literally. So, Wednesdays, I typically travel out of town for work. I go to a neighboring town and do my job in the office in that town, like the company office branch that's in that town. And it's about, somewhere around an hour drive. And normally I'm able to kind of just, leave as long as I get there before 9. It's not a huge deal. But this morning, Wednesday morning, I had a meeting at 8 a.m. and I didn't want to be, on Teams in my car. And so I was like, I've got to leave on time. I need to leave by, 7:10, 7:20 to give myself enough time to get there and, like, get set up in a room and all of that stuff. So I'm getting ready. I woke up late. Go figure. I'm constantly waking up late. I'm a master at hitting snooze on every alarm on my phone. So I get up late. I get ready really fast. Pull everything together. Make sure I fed the cat. Make sure I've, locked everything, turned everything off, unplugged things. Make sure I have all of my work stuff in my bag. And I even had time. I was so on the ball that morning. I even had time to make myself a cup of tea and, like, a travel mug of tea. And I was like, I'm doing great, honestly. I'm doing amazing. So I gather all my stuff. I've got my travel mug of tea in my hand. I've got this cup full of water in the crook of my arm. I've got my 50-pound backpack on. I don't know why my backpack is always so heavy. I feel like the stuff in there should not add up to as much weight as it is, but it's heavy. And then I've got my keys in the other hand. So I'm going out the door. I lock the door behind me. I go down the stairs, and the sidewalks in front of where I live are slanted downwards towards the parking lot. And it's been raining. It's a little slick outside, muddy on either side of the sidewalk. And my neighbor happens to be coming up the sidewalk at the same time I'm going down. So to be polite, I scoot over to the side of the sidewalk so that we both have enough room to pass and no one has to, like, step off into the muddy grass. Well, apparently my foot was on the edge of the sidewalk, and so it went. And so I went, hit my knees, hit my shoulder, and proceeded to roll. I was rolling in the mud, right? I've still got my tea, my water, my keys in my backpack, rolling. You know that moment when you know that you're about to fall and there's that little like adrenaline catch. Like I used to get it all the time leaning backwards in chairs in like school where you have that like oh oh that moment and you just kind of have to like accept the fact that you're going down and you're going down fast. Yeah, it was that. So that's embarrassing. That hurts. Like that physically and emotionally hurts. So I roll. I come to a stop. I sit up like the freaking Undertaker. And I'm just hoping, like the only coherent thought in my brain is I hope my neighbor was upstairs and I hope that they did not see that. And I look over and there's my neighbor. Are you okay? No. No, I'm not okay. I want to find the nearest bridge and go for a swim. Okay? Like my pride is hurt in this moment. And I still got to get up out of the mud. Um and they were very sweet about it. You know, they came over and, offered to help and I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "I'm more embarrassed than anything, honestly." So then I'm trying to get up. I asked them to hold one of my cups. I'm trying to push up off the ground, but it's muddy and I'm still on the downhill and my brain does not have enough juice in it at this point in the morning to turn myself around. So I'm pushing up off the uphill. So I'm like a freaking downward dog trying to stand up and my hands are slipping. And this whole time my brain is like screaming at me like, wow, you have done it again. You've been dumb before, but today you were really dumb. And I get up. I turn around. The only other words out of my mouth that I can conjure are, I'm going to be late for work. So, my neighbor hands me back my cup of tea. And I go back upstairs and I unlock my door. And I go inside, shut the door, and just have this moment of like bawling. I'm immediately not okay in this moment. And I look down. My shoes are covered in mud. My pants are covered in mud. My shirt, I was wearing a white cardigan covered in mud. And to top it all off, I hadn't yet done laundry for the week. So it was my last clean pair of work pants. And I was like, I don't know how it could get much worse than this. Like, this is physically, emotionally not great. So I message my supervisor and I say, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to make it in this morning. I think I busted my knee. It kind of hurts." And I go to change out of my muddy clothes. And as I am trying to find new pants, I look down. My whole knee is scraped and bleeding. And I start to realize that walking on it is a little painful. So I go to get the first aid kit, clean myself up. It is like swollen beneath my knee, like, up to down wise, below my knee, swollen and tender. And I'm just thinking, oh, if I have somehow broken my leg in any way or torn something, that's not going to be great. Luckily, update, it's been 2 days. My knee still hurts. My knee is still sore. I think I might have sprained it, but I don't think I broke anything. So that's good. That's positive. And then later in the day, I end up driving to the town anyway, after lunch, and did a few things, drove back home. All good, right? Not a huge deal. When I get home, it's almost like I had forgotten that I hurt my leg. And I went to go sit on the couch, and normally when I sit down, I fold that leg underneath me. And the muscle memory kicked in. I did that, came down straight on the edge of the couch on that leg, yelped. Like, I think I might just be dumb, honestly. But it was a rough day. It was not great. Still kind of hurts, but again, everyone falls. Everybody hurts. Or whatever. And it's fine. Again, it happens to everyone. It's really embarrassing, but we'll get over it. So I'm like, okay. I wake up on Thursday morning, and I'm like, yesterday was a rough day. Today also might be a rough day, because Thursday I went to the dentist for the first time since 2018. I've never liked going to the dentist. And it's funny because I was talking with a coworker about this the other day, and it's not that I am afraid of the dentist. Like, it doesn't bother me to, like, get my teeth cleaned or, like, get work done or anything like that. Like, I'm not afraid of the dentist. I'm afraid of what my dentist thinks of me. I'm afraid of letting her down. So, back in college, I graduated in 2019. So that was like a really big year for me in terms of like my anxiety was like really big, really bad. And I think I just canceled my dentist appointments in 2019. And then, of course, 2020 COVID happened, and like being in an office with my mouth wide open during COVID did not seem like the best course of action. So I didn't. I didn't go to the dentist. And then, I felt pretty okay about maybe going back COVID wise for a little while now, but I also hate making phone calls, which is a problem because like it's a big part of what I do for work. But I literally schedule people, and you would never know by the way I sound whenever I call to schedule my own appointments. Like, but I'm past the age where I can make my mom do that for me. I have my own insurance. 26, man. Like, I'm off my parents' insurance. It's a whole new world out here, and I'm past the point where I can make my mom make me appointments. And I think my mom is past the point of wanting to do anything like that for me. So I had to call, and I started with the optometrist because I haven't been to any medical provider aside from like urgent care, maybe once, to get a tetanus shot, which that's a whole different story. We'll get into that at some point, I'm sure. But other than that, like I haven't been to an optometrist, a dentist, or like my regular primary care doctor probably since 2018. 2019 maybe for like the optometrist. I might have gone in 2019 because that's like the least stressful place for me. Because I feel like any news that they give you at the optometrist is not your fault. Like, I didn't make my eyesight worse. It just got worse. Whereas at the doctor and the dentist, they can be like, your choices are directly contributing in some way to the results here. So, when we come back to like the idea of I don't want to disappoint my dentist, it's because, again, I feel like my actions do directly contribute to how my teeth are at my checkups and at my cleanings. And so after 5 years, like I had no clue going in there, like what that was going to come out like. Worst case scenario, I was having dreams about losing all my teeth, having dreams that I went in and she like yelled at me. Like I was having stress dreams, right? And earlier in this week, I decided to man up and just and to call and make my appointments. So I called the optometrist first, made an appointment, easy peasy, not stressful. Called the dentist, and the receptionist is like, have you been here before? I'm like, yeah, I've been going to the same dentist since I was a kid. I said, it's been a little while, but I have been to your practice. She looks up and she's like, oh, wow. I know. I know it's bad. She's like, no, it's okay. Have you seen anyone else in the past 5 years since you've been with us? And I said, no. She's like, that's okay. That's okay. And I'm like, it's not. You don't have to lie to me. It's not. It's not okay. And that's also not okay. But whatever. Um, and so she's like clicking through. I can hear her mouse on the other end, she's looking through. And she goes, well, we are booked pretty far out. We're booking people in August. It's the end of April. So yeah, they're booked. And she's like, I can see if we have any cancellations, if you want to get in sooner. And I was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So she's clicking through and she's like, it looks like we have an opening on Thursday at 8:45 in the morning. And I'm like, oh, this is on a Tuesday, right? Oh, okay, 2 days. 2 days to prep myself for the anxiety of going into the dentist and potentially getting really bad news about my teeth. Okay, I said, yeah, I can make that work. She was like, our next earliest is August 1st. I will make Thursday work. If there's anything wrong with my teeth, I do not need to put it off until August. And also, if I put it off for that long, I'm gonna, it's gonna be worse, and I'm gonna find a reason to cancel because I'm anxious, and so I will find a reason to cancel. So yeah, anyway, Thursday morning I wake up. Wednesday was a bad day. My knee still hurts. Couldn't sleep on my side because my leg hurt. But you know what? We're going to wake up. We're going to get ready. We're going to go to the dentist and it's going to be okay. And I'm like repeating that to myself as I'm like getting ready, getting in the car, going to the dentist's office, showing up at 8:45 for my 8:45 appointment, thinking like, oh my God, I'm late. They're having me update paperwork. This is my first run on my own insurance. Like, did I need to bring a physical card? What are they thinking? Are they looking at me being like, oh my God, like she's gained so much weight since the last time we saw her? Like my anxiety is going wild. My inner monologue is nonstop. So I'm filling out all the paperwork. I'm like checking boxes, signing my name to things. I'm like, I should really be focusing on reading these papers that I'm signing, but like, it's the dentist's office. Like, they're fine. So I go turn in my stuff. Hygienist is like, yeah, we're actually ready for you. I'm like, oh, my bad. So we go back there. We're making the small talk. I know everyone talks about it. It's so funny to me that they will like talk to you with their hands like in your mouth. And they're like, and like, what's your favorite food? As they're like scraping your teeth, and you're like, how am I supposed to answer? Take your hands out of my mouth so I can say something. And it's like, no, your job is literally to have your hands in my mouth. Maybe just don't ask me questions. But then again, that would make for kind of an awkward appointment. Like if you if you just went into the dentist and like they just worked in silence like the whole time. I had a manicure like that one time, and I was so uncomfortable because I wasn't talking and the person doing my manicure wasn't talking. And so we just sat there for like 30 minutes with my hands like this. And they were like, relax your fingers. And I was like, I can't relax any part of myself right now. Anyway, hygienist is talking, it's a good time. She's like, wow, your teeth look really good for not having come in 5 years. And I'm like, wow, okay. That's good to hear. That's good. And she was like, we would have expected more like, build up and stuff. Oh, okay. Good. I'm glad that my teeth aren't horrendous. That was a concern of mine. Yeah, thank you for addressing that. And she does the x-rays, cleans my teeth, does all the things. And she's like, yeah, I don't see any, major issues or anything. So then the dentist comes in. And she's like, long time no see. And I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. And she goes, okay, we have a few cavities. And I'm like, oh, I kind of expected as much. Like, both of my parents have had a lot of dental work done. Like, probably part of it is genetic and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, a few. That's like 2, maybe 2 or 3. And she goes, yeah, it's upper back molars on both sides. And I'm like, oh, okay. Again, 2, 3. She goes, it's the back 2 on this side. And I'm like, hold up. Okay. I thought it was on both sides. She goes, and it's the back 4 on the other side. I don't know about you, but in my mind, a few, again, is 2 or 3. If I'm doing the math correctly, you just said 2 plus 4, which is 6, which is not a few. That is several. That is many. Don't sugarcoat it, like I think it's funny that my anxiety was that the dentist is going to be like, wow, your teeth are awful. And then whenever she was nice about it, I was like, no, you actually need to be mean to me about this because I'm ashamed and this is unfortunate for me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you so much for telling me that. She goes to the computer behind me, starts typing. She's like, we're probably going to want to split this into like 3 appointments. And I'm like sitting there in the dentist chair. Because, even when they raise you back up, you're still kind of like angled back. And I'm like, okay. It could have been worse. They could have told me I needed a root canal. Or I needed teeth pulled. Or any number of things that are worse than 6 cavities. And then I had to reframe it for myself one step further and think, okay, it's been 5 years. 6 cavities in 5 years? Honestly, not great, but not the worst. Okay. I mean, it still sucks. I'm going to have to go to the dentist 3 more times in the next few months to get those fixed. But, it took me a few hours to get over it. And as I'm in the car driving home, looking at my little estimate of the costs and everything and trying to figure out how I'm going to understand insurance and hoping they actually cover as much as the estimate is, all I kept thinking to myself was Mercury Retrograde. It's Mercury Retrograde. This all makes sense, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah, Thursday was, I think the rest of the day went pretty okay. I can't think of anything that was like super notable, aside from 6 cavities. Yikes. Again, I know that that's not, it could have been so much worse, but man. Anyway, we'll get that figured out. Stay tuned. I'm sure I'll talk about that more. Then today, Friday, 1 whole week of being 26, 1 whole week in Mercury retrograde. And Fridays are usually pretty slow days for me, work-wise. Usually it's not a huge deal. This Friday, however, has been a doozy. Okay, so the morning itself was fine. Started pretty slow, had a couple appointments, went okay. Then I had to deal with a crisis situation with work. And I'm not going to go into any details, just that it was a stressful situation that I didn't have any good answers to. And I was probably on that for a couple hours. Again, it's not super uncommon for these crisis situations to come up in my job, but I don't feel like I handled them well. In retrospect, I do, but in that moment, I am panicking. Which I guess is a fairly good quality about me. Even when I'm panicking, I can pull it together long enough to problem solve and to get things done. But the inside feeling is discomfort. because I don't know what I'm doing. And immediately my brain is like, I'm not qualified. I don't need to be here. Who left me in charge? Who made me an adult? Yikes. So I did that today at work this afternoon. And then I get to the end of the workday. I'm headed home. And I decide to swing by my parents' house and go talk with my siblings and my parents for a while. And I'm driving down the road to my parents' house, and I see a car off on a side road parked behind another car. And I'm like, that's weird. There's not normally cars parked on that road. And that car looks distinctly like my sister's car. So I'm driving by, and I'm like looking out the window, and I'm like, is that my sister's car? So I drive past, and I find a spot to turn around, and I do a little wrap around and head back that direction. And as I'm driving back that direction, I see my brother standing at the curb. And I'm like, that is definitely my sister's car. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I think she was in a fender bender. I don't know why else they'd be pulled over like that. So I try to call my mom. She doesn't answer. And I'm like, my sister's probably on the phone with my mom. Because when I got in my first fender bender, the first person I called was my mom. So I try to call my mom. Doesn't answer. I keep driving. And I decide to call that sister. And she answers, hello. I said, did you get in a wreck? She goes, yeah. I said, well, did you call the police to file a report? Did you exchange insurance with the other person? She's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like literally right around the block. And so I said, I will come and help. I'll come park. I've been in several car accidents, unfortunately. But fortunately, that does mean I'm familiar with the process of reporting it and getting everything sorted at the scene of an accident. So I pull around and I park, and my sister and this other person involved in the accident, it's a first accident for both of them. And they are both bawling. And I get it. Again, I am well versed in that. That adrenaline hits you, and it is like all bets are off, right? And so my mom shows up about 30 seconds later. Go figure. And we get that all sorted out. But again, the whole time I'm sitting there, and Mercury retrograde. I'm not saying it's true. I am just saying it is a funny coincidence. Not funny, haha. Funny, weird. So there was that. And then literally as I was driving home tonight, coming back from my parents' house, getting ready to sit down and film this, my mom messaged me saying that one of their financial accounts had fraudulent charges on it. Mercury retrograde, ladies and gentlemen. Taking lives. No, not lives. Oh, God. No. Taking names. Kicking butt. Taking names. Oh, my God. Not taking lives. Dear God. Knocking on wood. Although I'm pretty sure my desk is particle board. Do I have a single piece of real wood in this room? No, probably not. This is all cheap starter apartment furniture that I've brought with me through every place I've ever lived outside of my parents' house. My notebook is probably the closest thing to like real wood. Anyhow, so yeah, it has been a week, man. Like it has been a lot to process, a lot to think about. I'm actually not sure when Mercury retrograde ends. That might be a good thing to look up. Because I don't know if I could take any more of this, like any more weeks of this. Yeah, it's exhausting. There's a lot going on. May 14th. That's like 2 weeks from now. fact, that's oh, yeah, that's a little over 2 weeks from now. So this might have a part 2 and 3, honestly. Hopefully not. I mean, maybe my Mercury retrograde and that of those around me is front heavy, you know? Maybe this first week is really bad and then the rest of it is pretty light, you know? Maybe maybe not. We'll see. Stay tuned. But yeah, all in all, it's been an interesting time. I hope next week is better. I hope this weekend goes by fairly smoothly. Plans for the weekend: cleaning my house. As you can see, we kind of rearranged the setup in here. Uh, the lamp that used to be behind me. Oh, the autofocus. Look at that. The lamp that used to be behind me is now next to me. I do kind of like the lighting in here a little bit better that way. Um, I think we need to get some decorations this wall. Decorations up on the wall, maybe. Have it be a little less blank and beige. Otherwise, this is going to be a sad beige podcast for sad beige children. And no one wants that. No one wants that, least of all me. I feel like I'm a very colorful person, and so I need to figure that out, get that all sorted. In other news this week, I created an end screen and a channel banner. That's pretty cool, just in terms of like YouTube progress. By the way, this is Griffin. Oh, other shoulder. Griffin. Oh, I'm still learning this mirrored flipped image thing. This is Griffin. Hi, Griffin. He's the one who was playing with the doorstops in the last episode. That got yelled at a little bit. He's very cute, but he's a little devil. So, yeah, I'm sure you'll see a lot more of him. Yeah, that's pretty much a summary of the week, you know. Not a whole lot going on outside of work. Professional growth wise, you know, the no money part still holding a little bit true. I did have payday, but bills come out this weekend, so about to be back to the no money as far as prospects go. Professionally and education wise, like I am still considering applying to grad school. Haven't done it yet. I was really gung ho about it a couple weeks ago, and it's like I was very excited for like 3 days, and then the reality of that level of work I would need to do set in, and I kind of lost my steam for it. Personal growth wise, I feel like I've done pretty well this week at managing my own emotions, which is good. Haven't journaled a whole lot, and I've wanted to. I'm not sure what is keeping me from doing that, but maybe we'll try to do some of that this weekend. I do feel like it was an achievement that I scheduled dentist and optometrist appointments and that I went to the dentist. So we're going to count that as a win. The last thing I want to kind of talk about is, I don't know, I guess just like the format of this podcast. I haven't really decided on a lot. As you can tell, it's still very like rough and tumble, going with the flow of things. It's going to be really interesting watching this back. I think this is the first time I've just had a stream of consciousness speaking thing since high school, trying to make YouTube videos. And I have talked for almost 40 minutes at this point, before editing. Well, that's another thing. Editing, I don't know her. I don't know how to do that. We're learning. It's going to be a process. But I'm not sure what the format of this is going to look like at the end. Like if I'm going to try to have separate topics, or if I'm just going to kind of go off the dome like I did today. I actually did make a list of points to hit on during today's. So, that's a little bit better than last week where I was just kind of absolutely free flying, like free falling, free balling, and free wheeling, honestly. Um, I do think one thing I want to end each episode with is a song that I've been listening to during the week, or just talking about something that I have been really into over the course of a week. So for this week, the song that I've been listening to a lot is, it's called Aquatic Ambience. I heard it in a TikTok, and it is um, very reminiscent of like, I don't know. It's a little bit like vaporwave, and it's like a little bit kind of sounds like it could come from a video game. But people have been putting it behind videos or slideshows on TikTok of nostalgic childhood memories. And there's something about the tone of that song that, even though I don't feel like it like specifically sparks any childhood memories for me, it makes me weirdly nostalgic. It's a good choice for like nostalgic slideshows, screen slides. Girl, what is that? Um, but yeah, it's called Aquatic Ambience. Maybe I can put a screenshot by Sizzy. It's on Spotify, and I highly recommend it. If you're into like any kind of vaporwave, I am. Um, I think you would really enjoy it. It's almost like calming and peaceful in a way that like I could fall asleep to it, but at the same time, a little sad. I think nostalgia always has like a little tinge of sadness for me. Because like who doesn't miss, you know, those like innocent moments of being a kid? Um, yeah. So that's what I've been listening to a lot lately. Been watching a lot of documentaries on Hulu. Um, yeah, that's about it. Playing clicker games. I recently bought Cookie Clicker on Steam because I never played it in the browser. And I am weirdly into it. So that's what I've been up to this week. Stay tuned. Like I said, Mercury Retrograde is going till May 14th, baby. So we're going to pull 2 more weeks of content out of it. But in all seriousness, thank you for watching. If you've made it to the end of this video, you're crazy. But I love you for it. So join us next week on No Money, No Prospects, where we will talk about some more stuff that nobody cares about. See ya. See you next week.